If you were born between 1940 and 1960, what I am about to tell you could change the amount of money that hits your bank account starting this month. And I need you to stay right here because this is not something you want to miss. Every August, something happens in Washington, D.C. that most seniors never hear about on the evening news. Adjustments are made, rules are quietly updated, and for millions of Americans who depend on Social Security, those changes can mean more money coming in or significantly less. And here is what is most alarming about this particular August. The changes hitting right now are some of the biggest we have seen in years, with new rules around benefit calculations, new enforcement of old regulations that were being ignored, and a major shift in how the Social Security Administration handles people born between 1940 and 1960, which is a generation of Americans who worked hard their entire lives, paid into the system for decades, and now, at the moment they need it most, the rules underneath them are shifting without warning. Now, listen carefully, because in the next 10 minutes, I am going to break down exactly what is changing, who it affects, what could go wrong if you ignore this, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to protect your benefits. So stay with me because this is extremely important and it directly affects your financial future. Let us start with who exactly we are talking about, because if you were born between 1940 and 1960, you fall into one of the most critical age brackets in American Social Security history. And here is why. People born in 1940 are now 84 years old. People born in 1960 are turning 64 or 65 this year. And that means this group covers a very wide range, where some of you are already collecting full retirement benefits, some of you took early benefits before your full retirement age, some of you are still working and have not filed yet, and some of you are collecting survivor benefits or spousal benefits. And the critical thing you must understand is that every single one of those situations is being affected by what is changing right now. Because this is not just about one type of benefit. This touches the entire system. And according to the SSA's own numbers, there are approximately 67 million Americans currently receiving Social Security benefits, with a large portion of those people falling directly into this 1940 to 1960 birth window, which means if you are watching this right now and you are in that group, you are not alone, but you are absolutely at risk if you do not know what to look for. Now, let me tell you exactly what is changing, and I am going to explain all of this in plain English, with no government jargon and no confusing legal language. Just what you need to know to protect yourself. The first major change involves the full retirement age shift, which is something that has been quietly phasing in for years, but is now hitting a critical point for people born in 1960 specifically. And here is what most people do not know. Your full retirement age, which the SSA calls your FRA, is not the same for everyone. And if you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. Not 65 and not 66. It is 67, which means if you turned 62 recently and decided to file early, you locked in a permanently reduced benefit of up to 30% less than what you would have received if you had waited until 67. And 30% on a benefit of $1,800 a month is $540 less every single month for the rest of your life. And what makes this an August issue specifically is that the SSA is now sending out updated statements and recalculations to people in this birth year group. And some of those recalculations are correct, but some of them contain errors. And if you do not catch the error, it does not get fixed, and you keep losing money you are rightfully owed. The second major change involves earnings limit enforcement getting significantly stricter. And if you are collecting Social Security benefits, and you are still working, and you have not yet reached your full retirement age, you need to listen to this very carefully, because there is an earnings limit that in 2024 sits at $22,320 per year. And if you earn more than that while collecting early benefits, the SSA will withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn over that limit. And while this money does not disappear forever, because you do get some of it back later, the SSA has dramatically ramped up enforcement this year by cross-checking IRS income data more aggressively than ever before. Which means if you were earning over the limit and did not report it properly, you could receive an overpayment notice demanding you pay back thousands of dollars. And we are talking about letters that show up in your mailbox saying you owe $4,000 and must pay within 30 days. Which is real and is happening to real seniors across this country right now. The third change is actually good news for some of you, because the Social Security Fairness Act, which was signed into law earlier this year, eliminated two rules that had been reducing benefits for millions of public sector workers. Those rules were called the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset. And if you worked as a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, or in any government job that had its own pension system, and you were also eligible for Social Security, you may have had your Social Security benefit reduced under those old rules, and that reduction is now gone. But here is the serious problem. The SSA is completely overwhelmed trying to process all of these adjustments. Millions of people are owed retroactive payments, and many seniors are not receiving those payments because the SSA cannot reach them or the paperwork has errors. So if this applies to you and you were a public sector worker, you need to contact the SSA directly right now, because money that is owed to you may be sitting there completely unclaimed. The fourth change involves the cost of living adjustment preview that seniors need to understand before January arrives. Because every October, the SSA announces the COLA for the following year, and projections for 2025 are already being discussed. And the numbers are not as high as 2023's historic 8.7% increase, with current estimates suggesting a COLA of around 2.5 to 3% for 2025, which on an average benefit of $1,900 means roughly $47 to $57 more per month. And while that it is better than nothing, for seniors dealing with rising grocery bills, medication costs, and rent, it may feel like almost nothing. And knowing this now lets you plan ahead before January hits and you are caught off guard. Now, I need to stop here for a moment because this is the part of the video that most people want to skip over, and skipping it would be a serious mistake. So let me talk about what actually happens when seniors do not take these changes seriously, starting with a real situation that illustrates exactly how dangerous overpayment debt can be on a fixed income. A 63-year-old woman in Ohio who started collecting Social Security early at 62 was also picking up part-time work at a retail store, making about $26,000 a year. She did not realize she was over the earnings limit. Nobody told her. And 18 months later, she received a letter from the SSA saying she owed $3,800 in overpaid benefits, with 30 days to respond. And when she called the SSA, she waited on hold for 2 hours. And because she missed the initial response deadline, the SSA began withholding her entire monthly benefit check, every single dollar, until the debt was fully repaid. And for 4 months, she received absolutely nothing and had to borrow money from her adult children just to pay her rent. And this is not a rare story, because this is happening across the country right now to people just like you. Beyond overpayment issues, missing your FRA window has permanent consequences because there is no going back once you have filed for Social Security and locked in that reduced rate, with the only exception being if you withdraw your application within 12 months and pay back everything you received. And after that window, it is permanent for the rest of your life. So consider this. Every year you wait past 62 and before your FRA, your benefit grows. And every year past your FRA, up to age 70, it grows even more by 8% per year. Meaning someone who waits until 70 instead of 62 could receive up to 76% more per month. And on a $1,500 benefit, that is the difference between $1,500 a month and $2,640 a month for the rest of your life, which over a full retirement lifetime can mean a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars based on one decision made at age 62. And there is one more warning I have to give you that I consider absolutely critical, and that is the fact that scammers are using these Social Security changes to target seniors right now, today. Because anytime there is news about Social Security rule changes, criminals come out of the woodwork, and they are currently calling seniors on the phone pretending to be from the Social Security Administration, saying things like, "Your benefits are being suspended due to new August regulations," or "You need to verify your Social Security number immediately," or "You owe money and must pay by gift card to avoid arrest." And I need you to understand that the real Social Security Administration will never call you and demand immediate payment, will never ask for gift cards, will never threaten you with arrest, and will never ask for your Social Security number over the phone. So if you get a call like this, hang up immediately and report it to the SSA's Office of Inspector General at 1-800-269-0271. And do not be embarrassed if you have already received one of these calls, because they are professional, convincing, and they deliberately prey on the fear that real rule changes create in seniors who are just trying to protect their income. Now, let us talk about what you can actually do, because all of this information only matters if you take real action, starting today. And your first step is to go to ssa.gov and look for the button that says My Social Security. Create an account or log in if you already have one. And once you are in, look at your benefit statement. Check your projected benefit amount and check your earnings history to make sure every year of work is accurately recorded. Because if you see any years where your income looks wrong, you need to report it immediately, since errors in your earnings history directly reduce your benefit amount, and they happen far more often than most people realize. And if you are not comfortable doing this online, you can call the SSA directly at 1-800-772-1213, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And yes, the wait times can be long, so call early in the morning for shorter holds. Your second step is especially important if you were a public sector worker, because you need to call the SSA and specifically ask about the Social Security Fairness Act. Ask if the windfall elimination provision, or the government pension offset, was applied to your benefit. Ask if you are owed a retroactive payment. Write everything down, get a reference number for every call, and follow up in 30 days if you have not heard anything, because this could mean thousands of dollars back in your pocket that is rightfully yours. Your third step is to know your exact full retirement age, because this sounds simple, but millions of people get it wrong. If you were born between 1943 and 1954, your FRA is 66. If you were born in 1955, it is 66 and 2 months. 1956 is 66 and 4 months. 1957 is 66 and 6 months. 1958 is 66 and 8 months. 1959 is 66 and 10 months. And if you were born in 1960 or later, your FRA is 67. So write your number down on a piece of paper and put it somewhere you will see it every day, because every financial decision you make about Social Security should be based on your full retirement age and nothing else. Your fourth step is to track your earnings carefully if you are still working while collecting benefits before your FRA. Keep a record of every dollar you earn. Remember, the 2024 limit is $22,320. And if you think you might go over that number, call the SSA and ask about voluntarily suspending your benefits temporarily, which stops the clock, prevents overpayment, and saves you from receiving that terrifying collection letter we discussed earlier. Your fifth step is to guard yourself against scams by saving this number in your phone right now. 1-800-772-1213. which is the real SSA number. And if anyone ever calls you claiming to be from Social Security, hang up and call that number yourself to verify before giving anyone any information. And please share this warning with elderly parents or relatives because they are often the most targeted victims of these sophisticated scams. Your sixth and final step is to consider talking to a free benefits counselor, because many seniors do not know that free services exist to help you understand your Social Security benefits through the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, called SHIP, which offers free, unbiased counseling to Medicare and Social Security recipients. And you can find your local SHIP office at shiphelp.org, where trained volunteers will sit down with you in person or on the phone and walk through your specific situation at absolutely no cost to you. Here is what I want to leave you with today. You worked for these benefits. You paid into this system for years and for decades. You earned every single dollar that comes from Social Security, and you deserve to receive every dollar you are owed, and not 1 cent less. But the system is complicated. The rules change, and those changes do not always come with a phone call or a clear letter explaining what happened, which is exactly why staying informed is not just smart, it is survival. So check your SSA account. Know your full retirement age. Watch your earnings if you are still working. Protect yourself from scammers. And if you were a public sector worker, call and ask about the Fairness Act right away. Because these are not complicated steps, but they can make an enormous difference in your financial security and your peace of mind. If you found this video helpful and it opened your eyes to something you did not know before, please share it with a friend or a family member, because there is someone in your life right now who needs to hear exactly what you just heard. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel, where we cover Social Security, Medicare, senior benefits, and retirement law every single week in plain English with no nonsense and just what you need to know. So click the subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you never miss an update, because in the months ahead, more changes are coming. And when they arrive, you will want to already know. Take care of yourself, stay informed, and we will see you in the next one.